So I usually say this in comedy clubs, but I know everybody here is in the online business, and you guys all know, we all have one thing in common, and that's spam emails, right? We all get the same bullshit sent to us, or you guys probably have like some super spam blocker that your nerd friend made. But I get all the same bullshit, and it's always about two things. It's always about making your mortgage lower and making your penis bigger, right? Like, even if you're a lady living in a car, you get that shit sent to you if you have an email account. The one I got, I hope none of you guys are responsible. I don't know how things work, but I got this one. All it said in the subject line was increase your loads. Has anybody seen that? I got it sent to me twice. All it said was increase your loads, and I didn't click on it because fucking yuck. No, thank you. Increase your loads? I'm pretty sure that's not the Kenmore Corporation spam emailing people to get them to try their new laundry machines. Increase your loads. Who's that for? Like, what dude has ever been home alone going, I wish there was more. I want to spend more time on cleanup later. Just went to Costco, got all these towels, had my whole weekend planned. It's disgusting, right? And what girl has ever been with her man and been like, is there more of that? Oh, no, I'm okay, baby. Oh. No, honey, I just need a little fresh air, a little water or something. Oh. No, I won't puke in your car and ruin Valentine's Day. I was just wondering, could you increase your... So there's another segue I don't need. I normally, when I'm at a comedy club, I ask everybody if they're familiar with Wikipedia, but some of you guys might have fucking created it, so I love Wikipedia. Wikipedia is awesome, right? It's the online encyclopedia we all know, but it's also mostly useless for the reason that any asshole can edit it, right? We all know about that. There's problems with it. And here's what happens is... you're looking up something in, like if you're an expert about a particular topic, you can go on Wikipedia and start some shit. Like, let's say you're a Civil War buff, right? You know all about the Battle of Antietam, or you know that Abraham Lincoln had a fake leg and he used to fill it full of whiskey and everybody called him President Whiskey Leg. You can type that shit in there. And some kid's gonna get an F on his report. Because as far as I know, that shit is not true. You just provided him with some shitty info, or some shinfo, as my friends like to call it. Now, there was shinfo on my page, the Brian Posehn Wikipedia page, and it was mostly very complimentary. It was clearly written by a nerd that knew my material and my act and everything. It was very nice, except for the most recent edit at the bottom was by somebody who clearly hates me. They wrote, his freakish looks and shameless climbing got him where he is today, and I was like, that is so brutal. So I did my own edit. I wrote, his penis tastes like gummy bears and cures the blues. Because who doesn't like gummy bears, right? And no one will fact check that. That doesn't taste like gummy bears at all. Ugh. Why'd I lick it again? This job sucks. Strangely, I no longer have the blues. So... I get recognized a fair amount because as I talk about it, I stick out a lot. And this happened, like a lot of times I'll be in public and people won't know where they know me from, but I'll stick out, like they'll look at me and go, God, then they'll be like, hey, why do I know that monster? And this really happened. This is one of the craziest stories I've ever heard, and this happened to me. I was checking into a hotel in Chicago a year ago, and as I'm checking in, the guy behind the counter is giving me the hairy eyeball the entire time. He's just looking at me like, man, where do I know this guy from? And he finally gets up the nerve and he asks me, he goes, man, I have to ask you, where do I know you from? And I go, I'm a comedian and an actor. And he goes, oh, thank God. And I'm like, that's a weird reaction. Like, where'd you think you knew me from? The guy outside your window going, what are you doing, dude? Take your shirt off, bro. Do you think I was that creep? And he finally says this to me. He goes, I normally will never ask people where I know them from because I had something really horrible happen to me. And I go, okay, well, I know I'm a stranger, but the rule is when you tell another stranger something horrible happened to you, you then have to tell the whole story, right? I like to make up rules. And now he swears this story's true. So he told me this story, and he swears it's true. He says 3 years ago, he's working at the same hotel in Chicago, and it's a similar situation where the dude with a unique look like me comes in. But this guy's in his 50s or early 60s, and the guy's trying to figure out where he knows him from. The guy's got like gold framed glasses, you know, and he's got the old-timey twirly mustache, like an old Pringle stash. And the guy's looking at Pringle stash and glasses going, where do I know this guy from? Was he my dad's friend? Was he a professor? Was he on TV? And he finally gets up the nerve and says to Pringle's stash and glasses, he goes, hey, dude, where do I know you from? Pringle stash and glasses loses his shit and screams at him, O.J. Simpson killed my son. Yes. Holy fucking shit is the reaction you should be having. Like I said, I've smoked pot half my life. I've never been more awake than that moment. Like, I snapped out of a 20-year pot haze when he told me that story. I'm like, oh my God. Think about it. This poor bastard had Fred Goldman, Ron Goldman's dad, standing in front of him, and he didn't recognize him. And I feel so bad for both dudes in that story, but obviously I feel worse for Fred Goldman, right? Because he has the worst thing as a parent that can happen to you is to lose your kid, right? And then he goes through that horrible long trial, awful, right? And then he has to look like Fred Goldman for the rest of his life. I mean, I don't mean to be mean or callous, but unless he loses that stash, that's going to happen to him all the time. You know, so I think that's why he got so mad. Like, he's just lost his patience for dealing with people. Like, you know, maybe he used to be more patient. Somebody would see him at a movie theater and go, hey, man, where'd I know you from? And he'd go, you know, the long trial, stabby, don't fit, must have quit, that whole thing. But now he'll just scream at you, O.J. Simpson killed my son. And I was like, dude, that is fucked up. That is so brutal. What did you say? And he's like, what could I say? I was just like, ah. I was like, that's what I would have said. And then I thought about it. I was like, you know what you should have said? Yeah, that's it. That's totally it. O.J. Simpson did kill your son. Sorry about that. Or if you want to have an enemy for life, go, no, that's not it. Where else could I know you from?